This is a podcast from the Queen City Podcast Network.
Art Star is a Sith, and he has very sexy thigh meat.
TBJ is a badass.
Joe is a real man.
Professor Andy likes donuts.
Welcome, nerds.
Hello, Marvel fans and monster lovers.
It's been a really long time.
Yes.
Nerd School is still here. Ando recently just came back from parts unknown in the mountains.
Andy was out at Sundance Festival in Utah.
TBJ's out doing her director's thing. She's wearing her director's hat.
Yeah,
so she's kind of, she's busy, you know.
And not to
TBJ
mention,
the Great.
TBJ
the Great.
Not to mention the other thing I just realized, we just entered February, Black History Month, where TBJ is always overwhelmed because that's the time everyone wants her to moderate everything and speak on this and speak on that, which is good. But it's like, you know, she's available the rest of the year too, you know.
Right.
But it's like,
but then also this like she's really wearing her, like, she's doing the damn thing right now. So
yeah, she's doing
as a result of that, you guys, and I won't say you guys are stuck with us because it's not a bad thing, but you get the Rock and Roll Express of Nerd School for a little nerdy. I won't even see. This is not your traditional nerdy 30. This is just Joe and Art nerding out over nerd shit.
That's true, but I do have some stuff prepared for Werewolf by Night because I don't know if we can just cut, since it's kind of a special rather than a movie. You and I can probably cover it and talk about it.
we can try. It's been a minute since I didn't rewatch it.
I also didn't rewatch it, but I watched it for the first time not too long ago on my trusty treadmill there. I've been burning through the MCU on my treadmill, trying to get my 10,000 steps a day. I got a $10 treadmill somebody was getting rid of on Marketplace, or not Marketplace. It was like somebody posted, "Hey, I'm getting rid of this thing today. Does anybody want it?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, grab it!" And so I was out of town, and I made my son and wife go get this giant monstrosity of a thing, and it's barely holding together. It was $10, so it's gonna fall apart here soon. That said, I've been walking and watching Marvel, and I've been getting through a lot. And I find when it's an exciting movie or show, I'm not paying attention to my steps. Sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I'm done with my steps. Why am I still on this thing? Because the movie was that exciting. I was just watching Interstellar the other day. Have you seen Interstellar?
I've not watched Interstellar.
I'm trying to watch all the Christopher Nolan movies as a little side trek. Basically a dare with this guy, this bartender that I see regularly. He has not seen Pulp Fiction, and he's a young guy that loves movies. I'm like, you can't be a movie lover and not have seen Pulp Fiction. He's like, oh yeah, how many Christopher Nolan movies have you seen?
I was watching. Speaking of Pulp Fiction, I was watching what's the name? Family Guy the other day.
Yeah,
and I always forget that there's one episode where Quagmire's dating this woman who she's basically like a sex fiend, and she locks him up in the storage unit. And she's just been doing all types of shit to him. But like, his family hadn't seen him. His mom hasn't seen him in a while. And Peter and them haven't seen him for a while. And they find out, long story, they find him in a storage unit. He's hanging upside down with a ball gag in his mouth. He's being restrained and everything. And then when they finally find him, they take the ball gag out of his mouth. And they ask him, is he okay? And he goes, I'm far from fucking okay. And I'm like, you gotta love Pulp Fiction shout outs. But
an homage to Pulp Fiction. There's so many moments and shout outs to that, and lines from that people, Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. It's a chopper, baby. It's a chopper. Like, there's just so many well, I ain't your friend, Palooka. Just like all these
say what's and
Yeah. Say what again? I dare you. Yeah, the bad motherfucker wallet. There's so many things that almost it's like I almost don't want him to see this because then he's gonna realize all these things. But anyway, but he was like, "I'll give you a free beer if you watch Interstellar before I watch Pulp Fiction." So I watched Interstellar on the treadmill, and my buddy Drew said he didn't like Interstellar, but this guy loved it, and so he was all happy. He was, "Did you love it?" I was like, "I did love it," but I think the thing with Interstellar is there's a lot of it that I didn't know what the fuck was happening. Like I was like, I don't quite understand the physics of it, like what he's even really talking about and why he had to do this and drop this into the black hole and what he was really going to do. But the gist of it was I knew he had to use these controls and do something to save him. That's all I needed to know. That, it's going to be exciting. Something's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen. Ben's reality, really kind of mind trippy. I don't quite understand a lot of it, but it's still, I didn't need to. You didn't have to get all of it to just get that there was a struggle, there was a this, there was a that. So I felt dumb at times. I think that's why Drew didn't like it. He was like, I don't know what the fuck was what they were even talking about because it's like time travel and science and interstellar, black hole travel and whatever. And so yeah, you don't really get it, but it was good. I thought it was really good. And so I'm trying to watch movies by directors to get styles because people say, oh, that's clearly a Spielberg or that's clearly
Mhm.
David Fincher or whatever. I'm like, I can't put my finger on movies. Like I know Spielberg's movies, but they're famous movies. Like I can't find a correlate. So I'm trying to like, okay, I'm gonna watch all Christopher Nolan movies. Everybody says he's great and amazing, but honestly, I got most of the way through Interstellar, and I was like, I don't see any parallels to Memento. I don't see what makes this Memento-ish until the end, and then I was like, oh, it's like a twist and different, and this happens, and you're like, I have no idea what's going to happen. I guessed what was going to happen, and nothing even close to that happened. And so I think that like where Memento's like a total crazy switch at the end. It's sort of like a reveal at the end, I guess is kind of it. But anyway, all that to say, that's nerdy stuff to talk about too. But um, I don't know. I think with Werewolf by Night, uh, I think our listeners, whether they're a comic collector or just tuning in for some chills, we're gonna have a howling good episode for them, right, Art Star?
Right, right.
I had AI write stupid intro, so that's what it is. uh, but I asked Copilot to find some tidbits and Easter eggs that we might have missed. So I don't know if these are true or not because AI is kind of a liar. Uh, but we're gonna go ahead and grab our silver, light a candle, and we're gonna get into this. But so Marvel, from what you understand, Arthur, I know you've told me about this. They did a lot of horror stuff back in the 70s, right? They experimented with supernatural and horror comics back then, or did Andy tell us that?
And it might have been Andy, but
Okay.
like they have like their own excuse me, like Moon Knight, a lot of the supernatural is still prevalent in Marvel. Like you have like Blade,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah,
um,
yeah.
so
Where, vampire-ish stuff.
like
Well,
stuff dealing with hell. So it's a lot of like crossover
I'm glad.
into like supernatural and
Yeah.
then mystical and like cosmic entities and stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned Moon Knight. Speaking of shit I barely understood. Like I got to the point where I was like, what the fuck is even happening? And then when I get like that, I'm like, I'm so confused. Then I just focus on God, what's that actor's name in Moon Knight? He's great. Is it Oscar
Oscar.
something? Oscar the Grouch? Uh,
And now you made me forget his last name.
it's
Um,
Oscar, right? Moon Knight,
oh my goodness, and I know this dude's name. And it's right there.
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, Oscar
As Mark
Isaac.
Spector. He's
Poe
so good.
Dameron.
Like, oh yeah. So when I was confused, I was just like, you know what? who cares if you don't understand what's happening? Just focus on how good his acting is and how great he is at playing two characters inside the same body, fighting with each other. Like that's why that show's so genius.
Hmm.
Um, and I always thought Moon Knight character was cool. I never knew what he did or anything in the comics, but again, I'm a dumb guy, so I was a little beyond my understanding. I could probably watch it a second or third time and get into it, but yeah. So that history, the horror stuff, the '70s Marvel uh, apparently did supernatural horror comics, and that Werewolf by Night comic debuted in 1972, putting on my Andy hat as part of Marvel's push into horror, alongside titles like Tomb of Dracula and Ghost Rider. Uh, So I don't know. The original werewolf, Jack Russell, was his real name. Was tragic and terrifying. A relatable guy, cursed with lycanthropy. Is that how you say that?
Lycanthropy, yeah.
Lycanthropy. And then I also read that Marvel's horror comics were inspired by the Comics Code Authority relaxing their rules, which meant they could do monsters and vampires, but they couldn't before the Comics Code kind of relaxed a little bit. I know you did a whole bunch of stuff about Comics Code.
Yeah, well, we did. That's
Yeah.
me, you, and Gruff, friend of the show.
Oh yeah.
Remember
Did we
when we
talk
was do,
about that?
when we was doing what was that we
Was it
did? Like
American
the
Timelines? Maybe it was
I
American
want to say
Timelines.
it was American Timeline 'cause we was dealing with like the 50s and
Yeah, because you talked on an episode. I'll have to find this episode and link it in because you talked about the whole like starting of the Comics Code, I think.
I think
Right?
yeah, but it was one.
Or
It
was
was
it
one with
Gruff?
it was me, you, and Gruff
Okay.
on that episode
Okay, yeah,
because we talked about because then I think from that spawned me and you doing the one where we was talking like Doctor. I think we brought
yeah.
up
Oh,
Doctor Colt again in that.
right, right,
We
right.
talked about a lot of shit in that episode.
Yeah, I feel like the Comics Code Authority has come in a lot, and like when I think about it, I picture you and Gruff talking about it. So I think, yeah, I mean, Gruff really could slide right into nerd school if we ever wanted to, because he's like so into a lot of that stuff. And then speaking of him and Comics Code, and I guess Gruff and Monsters Vampires, I am scheduled and more nerd stuff. We'll side, John. I am finally scheduled to play my first D&D game as an adult next week. Um, that same bartender I was talking about with the movies is a D&D guy, and he's never been a DM before, but he wants to try it. And he's got permission to open up the bar that I hang out at on their day off, their day they're closed on Monday. Not open it, but like we're allowed to go there and do it in the bar and drink beer and play D&D. So we're going to try that. I think Monday is the day because they're closed on Monday. So knock on wood at that. So hopefully I'll be able to play with my dice that I bought at Comic Heroes Con two
Heroes
years
Con.
ago with you guys. I bought those dice and like this is a commitment to I'm gonna play D&D. And then I haven't. But then also Andy and I's brother passed away, our half brother, who was our dungeon master back in the day. And I think from what I understand, Andy went up to get some of his mementos from him that of some of his possessions, and I think he grabbed a set of dice for me too. So I'm gonna have like dice handed down to me by my dungeon master brother that I'm gonna get to use too. So I figure like that is another impetus. Like with him passing away, I'm like I am in his honor. I will play Dungeons and Dragons within this year. That's my uh, rule. But so anyway, back to Werewolf by Night and the history with the Comics Code relaxing, and they started doing monsters and uh, werewolves and vampires. Um, Werewolf by Night is kind of like an homage to this, a black and white
Mhm,
homage to the classic monster movies. Really felt like film noir to me, like
mhm.
that kind of style. So it didn't feel like an MCU movie to me. I don't know about you, Art, but it felt like sort
Well,
of like an artistic
yeah.
sort of movie.
So eh, this is this. I feel like this episode definitely going to jump around,
Okay, yeah,
but
for sure. Yeah.
so the way it started off, like you say, it was meant to have like that film noir feeling
Mhm.
because they had like they had like a color version and a black and white version of this.
Yeah.
But then it gives you that like Night of the Living Dead, that George Romero kind of like
Yeah.
dark, creepy kind of feel. Um, but to your point about not feeling like an MCU kind of thing,
Yeah.
this is like one of their first shows. Like, 'cause it's a standalone. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really think it really.
Yeah. Was there anybody in it that's in the MCU, or was there anybody in this later on
If
in
I'm if
anything?
I'm if I'm remembering, I don't think it really touches anything as of yet. But it's one of those things where Marvel, like even now, Marvel has gotten to a point where, like how Netflix, when they came out with their shows,
Yeah.
they were set in the MCU, but they were separate.
Yeah.
So like while you knew what like the MCU was in the background, but they were standing on their own. So it's like, okay, you're watching
Yeah.
Daredevil, you're watching Jessica Jones. They mention New York being like, what happened in the Avengers and like stuff that like Shield mentioned stuff that happened in the Avengers and they would do cleanup for stuff like what happened in Avengers and Thor,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be like, oh, if I'm watching this, I must watch that, or like this doesn't feel like I'm watching the MCU timeline.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
now,
Yeah. I remember
but
saying
it's so big,
Andy kind of put it like they would mention the MCU, but the MCU never acknowledged them.
right, right.
Right. Yeah.
But then they also got to a point where like they completely kind of sort of distance themselves, and then just in the past, once everything happened in the past couple of years, they've brought them back into the fold. But like now, the way Marvel are making these shows, and like probably I feel like starting with a show like this, they've gotten to a point where it's like, okay, this show fits somewhere on the timeline, but we're going to start making other shows where it's like it's in the MCU, but it doesn't necessarily have to be part of the broader MCU.
Right.
Like you said, you recently watched Ironheart, right?
Well, I'm one episode into it. But again, I'm back to this thing of like Atlanta. I'm like savoring it. I'm like, okay.
Well, so like
Anyway, one
Ironheart,
episode in, yeah. Or
I
two
so
episodes. I watched two
have,
episodes.
did you watch Wakanda Forever?
Yes.
And so you saw Riri in Wakanda Forever, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
So
Turned
this
over
so
yeah.
Ironheart takes place after Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
So you get like a different you get Riri stepping out of what happened from Wakanda Forever, and
Yeah.
she's into her own thing, but she's in the MCU.
Oh shoot!
So
Now I can't remember. Like, is this a prequel? Is it a prequel or is this after? No, this is after.
this is after.
After. Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
after.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so now we go even further, and we have the new series that came out last week, and that's Wonder Man. Wonder Man is set in the MCU, right?
Okay.
If you watch Wonder Man, well, and then there's also Echo. Echo,
Oh
which
yeah, I
came
watched
out.
Echo. I watched Echo.
So Echo was an MCU show,
That was
but
good.
Echo also has its roots in like it's more grounded, and the MCU was like a part of a bigger story. But Echo was like boots on the ground. Like she has her little thing that she does. There's like the Kingpin and stuff that's going on, but it's not like a bigger part of the MCU. It's
Gotcha.
there, but it's not like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Wonder Man is so far removed. Wonder Man is like watching Miss Marvel, except it takes a step further, and you other than you get Trevor Slattery in there, but then you also get like, let's say if you've never watched Iron Man 3 or Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, and you knew nothing of Trevor Slattery. If you you could literally watch Wonder Man
Yeah.
and never watch any
and
MCU show
figure him
or
out
movie
and
and be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is a great show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
someone said like, oh, it's in the MCU. And now maybe your person say like, oh, let me go watch some more of this MCU stuff. Because that
Yeah.
Wonder Man series was great. It stood on its own very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it's one of those things where like, okay, I can see how this is going to start connecting to, what's coming next. So you get like Marvel, with a show like Werewolf by Night being a standalone thing,
Yeah.
and then knowing what we know from shows like Loki, and then different timelines, and then seeing Deadpool and Wolverine, it's like, in what universe is Werewolf by Night set in? I said that to say all of that. So it's like, because it's one of those things, you have like it feels like it's an old, like it's in black and white, so it gives you that old timey thing. But you have a character like Elsa Bloodstone,
Yeah.
who's not an old Marvel character from the 70s.
Right.
Elsa Bloodstone wasn't introduced until 2001.
Right. Okay.
Now, Ulysses Bloodstone, who we only hear the voice, he was from the 70s. But Elsa Bloodstone is a fairly new character.
Right.
But she's in Werewolf by Night.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And so Werewolf by Night is the first I've ever seen Elsa Bloodstone other than, as I always
Marvel
say,
Snap.
Marvel Snap, yeah. Which I love that power. So I find myself loving characters just if I like their
I literally
power.
just played the game today
with
where
Elsa
I
Bloodstone.
had is it the peak where you steal a person's card? And I ended up with the person's Elsa Bloodstone.
Oh.
And we had Sinister London. And I won a match because I had two Elsa Bloodstones and I filled location. So yeah.
It's a very satisfying card, the Elsa Bloodstone, where it adds points to
Yeah.
when you fill up a thing, and it's like, oh, if you can use that with who is the one that leaves your hand, leaves and goes back to your hand every time and adds to I can't remember who that is. Anyway, I love Snap, but you know what? As you were talking about this, that whole big long diatribe you just said, I was just thinking, Art, you are the perfect podcaster. Like you can go off on any subject. Like, and I say, I know I say this all the time to you, but it's like that's why you and Gruff are both great. Like, we can talk about anything, and you have something to say about it, and an opinion, and history, and like it's just like you have thoughts about this. Like that was a whole great podcast.
That's only because I always jokingly tell people I have OBS, and for me OBS stands for Only Boy Syndrome.
Oh yeah,
and that's because I was
right.
I grew up with three sisters.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then my imagination is out there. So it's like sometimes.
So what about being the only boy makes you?
Well,
so
because sometimes when you have it's almost like if you're an only child. Sometimes you have time, like when you enter, like you have time to entertain yourself. So you think not to say you think more than others, but you're a little more what's the word? Like your thinking becomes a little more off the wall, or you're doing Dexter Laboratory type thinking, where it's like, how do I do this, and what is, and then or you think some of the craziest shit. And
so
also
being the only boy, you were kind of left to your own because nobody else
left
was
to your own devices. So I was like, okay, so boom, bang, boom, and then I got like I like reading and stuff. So it's like a lot of times everything just me just thinking about something and like seeing how this connects to that, to that, to that, to that, to that.
Are you the
And
youngest also?
No, I was the second oldest.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So it's just one of those things where it's like if I think about something,
Yeah.
and it's like, how does this connect to this? And then, okay, boom, 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 boom. And then as I'm talking, sometimes the stuff just comes to me.
So I just picture you off in the corner, or off on your own doing something. Oh, that's just Arthur's doing his thing. Like he's reading his books, or he's doing his comics, or playing with Transformers.
Right.
I could see that. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like I don't know. I was just thinking like that's good. Whatever that whole big thing you were saying was good podcast. Like you really thought about all these things. I don't know, intelligently, and I don't know. It's just
But then the downside of that is sometimes things tend to get wordy. So then it's like
Okay.
you have to be like, how do you make it concise? So
How
like
do
in
I say this?
school, it's
Well, yeah.
always like,
Yeah.
you have to write a paper or you
Oh
end
yeah.
up writing something. And you
Yeah.
know that point where it's like you have to write this essay, it has to be so many words, and your first thought is, I'll never be able to write this many words. And then you sit there, you begin to write, and it's like, oh shit,
I wrote
there's
too many.
too many words. So now it's like, how can I make this concise without cutting out something and then
Yeah.
making it make no sense? And it's like,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah.
So
How the
then a
hell I
lot of
get
times,
here? Yeah.
yeah, so to me, sometimes it feels like talking it's easier to like, well, you know what? Especially like sometimes when I listen back to these,
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck was I talking about?
Yeah.
But then also like, oh, I get it. I get what I was trying to say.
Although sometimes I'm actually editing stuff out too, but it's hard to
Mm.
sometimes edit it because it's like, oh, that's if I cut this here, then we lose this whole side
The
jump,
whole
which was
diatribe
good.
about,
But it's like I'd got to
the
cut
cost of
time, and
Swiss
so
cheese in Mexico.
yeah. But sometimes it's like let's just get the relevant stuff. But then it's like oh, and then sometimes if we all throw back to something you said that I was about to cut out, oh, now I got to go put that back in because then TBJ brought up that stuff and it's not going to make sense, So
Mhm.
then I got to put it all back in. So it's hard to. And then there's some podcasters like the guy who runs the Queen City Podcast Network. He's like, don't cut anything out, leave it all in. Like even like dogs barking, whatever. No, people want to hear that stuff. So he's like, leave everything. I was like, leave everything. It'll be 8 million minutes, but that way we can cut it up. So he's like, that's what podcasting is. Everybody wants to hear everything. Um, anyway, did you know that Werewolf by Night was directed by Michael Giacchino, I think is his name, but he's best known as a composer for iconic film scores like Up, Lost, and other Marvel projects. So I didn't know he did Up and Lost.
Lost the TV series
I guess.
that everyone
Well, it says
loved to
film
hate.
scores. There wasn't a Lost movie, was there?
I don't know. Might have been. I'm pretty sure if you look through the annals of cinematography,
Yeah, so I didn't
you
know he
might
was
find.
a film score guy, like he was a music guy.
Oh man, I remember going. I'm jumping. I remember going to see
And a video game composer.
Venom, the last Venom movie, and when it got to the credits, I saw that it was scored by Dan Deacon, and I was like, I didn't know Dan Deacon was scoring.
Who's Dan?
Uh,
Who's Dan Deacon?
he's a instrumentalist,
Oh,
a musician. He's from used to be a part of Wham City and guy from I want to say from I know he went this he's oh man my memory I got too much in my head,
Dan
but
Deacon.
I do
Okay,
know
I'll
like
pull
I
him
used
up.
to work.
Oh, he's based in Baltimore.
Yeah, he's based in Baltimore, but he's not from Baltimore.
He's from New York, Wham City.
Yes, Wham City, right,
I've never heard
right.
of Wham City with Ed Schrader.
Yeah, Ed Schrader. But like I used to work with this guy named was Ben Fergal. And he used to design he
That's
was
a
friends.
that's a made up name.
No, that's his real name. But
Just
he
kidding.
he used to he was friends with Dan Deacon and he used to design the covers for his albums. And we
Oh,
used to
that's
always
cool.
come into the store and buy stuff anyway. But anyway, like just watching like he was all and all of them like hung around and also friends with like people from Future Islands or whatever.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's like just watching, him come from, watching him kind of get big or whatever, and then listening to like his music,
yeah.
and then
Oh,
to see that like, oh, whoa,
I said
seeing his
Michael's
name in
name
the
wrong.
marquee behind, Venom, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's kind of cool. But it's like one of those things, like you say when you said you didn't know, but just to see something like that, it's kind of it's good, but then it's also shocking.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it'd
Well,
be like let's say if one day you happen to be and someone's happened to be listening to some thing that was mixed by some sound thing that was mixed by such and such,
Dust
and
Brothers,
who
the Dust Brothers,
whoever, and like we just happened to sit there like, oh, we know that guy because he used to work with us at the place where we both used to work together at.
Yeah, so
and be like, oh, I know him, or to be like Dr. Brown Note or something like that.
Yeah, Dr. Brown
scored
Note.
this.
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully, Dr. Brown Note someday will score something that's big. Yeah, well, it's like when I talk about that guy, I know Kif Vanden Heuvel, who was he was in that the Young Rock show. He played Pat Patterson. I was like, I know that guy. I mean, do I really know him now? I mean, we're friends on Facebook, but I haven't seen him since college. But I know him. I knew I was going to play with him, but do I know him? I don't know. Anyway, but I got Michael's last name wrong. It's Giacchino, according to Wikipedia. It has a little parentheses thing, pronunciation thing, Giacchino. But yeah, so it was Lost. He got an Emmy for Lost for doing the score. And Up, he got an Academy Award for that. And he's got a Grammy. So I think he's one of these EGOT guys. Well, maybe not a Tony, but he's got a Grammy, Emmy, and a Oscar. But yeah, he
got an ego.
Ego, yeah. But he did scores for Mission Impossible, your favorite,
Top Gun,
Jurassic
Top
World,
Gun,
stuff in Star Trek, Rogue One, Batman. But I don't know that he's directed a lot of stuff. I guess he didn't direct until this 2022. This was his first directing. So there you go. How about that? That's a little something. Anyway, but so you might say he brought a composer's sense of rhythm and mood to the director's chair. I mean, it did feel like kind of like a musical in a way. Like it felt, it was very dark. It was very, like we said, film noir. It kind of felt like, I don't know. It felt very artsy of a film, like more than just a film. Like it felt very, I don't know. So you could really see his love of monster movies and stuff. It was a very spooky, mysterious vibe. I guess with a Marvel twist, like you said, with Elsa Bloodstone. Anyway, so it was black and white in parts, or was it all black and white? I can't remember. It's very artistic and I don't know, cool. A lot of special effects.
Well, they had the black and white version, and then they came out with a color version of it.
Okay.
Like a year or so later.
I can't remember what I watched then. But it's a perfect Halloween movie, Marvel Halloween movie. Maybe we'll watch it every year on Halloween.
And I think that's a good place to stop and pick it up next time. After all, this is a nerdy 30, not a nerdy 45, you jerks. Art Star and Joe will finish up Werewolf by Night next time. Thanks for listening, Nerd Hive. As always, we love you more than a friend. Excelsior! Oops, I think I pooped myself. That smells awful.
Yeah.
Was that a shark?
About the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor, still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election.
The Nerd School Podcast is a product of History for Jerks and a member of the Queen City Podcast Network. Find out more about History for Jerks at historyforjerks.com.
History for Jerks, you're the jerk, we bring back history, motherfucker.